evening, everyone. The title was messing with people. Now, for scientists, it would be exciting and fun, as well as engineers, but others who are not into math and science, you'll see they pretty much hate math and science. And we'll see why. My name is Quadre Washington. I need to remote. Wait a minute.
There's a second one up there that.
It's not working.
So I'm gonna need somebody to guide you, right? If yours doesn't work, then borrow mine.
They were hiding it from me. I watched a show called Big Bang Theory. I don't know how many of you see it. And the scientists always mess with the engineer. They say he's not really into science. So I guess from the astronomer to the engineer, you say, yeah, really, I'm not really a science person. First and foremost, just a little bit of background for me. I'm a native Baltimorean, went to Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. From there, went to Morgan State University, got my degree in electrical engineering, and then went up to Stevens Institute of Technology up in New Jersey to get my master's. I have a passion for education. As I was at Morgan, I coordinated all of the STEM programs for the K through 12 outreach, working along with MIT, working along with CCNY, University of Maryland, Howard University, and University of Washington out in Seattle. I actually developed a program called the Saturday Academy. Saturday Academy was put in place to expose students to engineering and science, STEM type careers. Actually chaired that program for about 3 years after I developed it. And then once I left, I had a passion for teaching, so I went and taught in the Baltimore City school system for a year. One of the things I found out, and I'm going to get past this, one of the things I found out is that kids are kids. You know, at the end of the day, no matter where you're from, no matter where you're at, kids are kids. It's a lot of the exposure.
Yes, it is experience.
And once we expose kids to things, their horizon opens up. Their mind just opens up and you enjoy, which I see now because I have a 4-year-old son. Everything I say to him, he's picking up. And he'll repeat it back to me next week and I'll be like, where'd you get that from? Daddy, you said that to me. Okay, note to self, watch what you say. So now I'm an engineering manager at Verizon Communications. What I think young people care about, and I'm not in the school system, but you guys are: popularity, clothing, some in athletics, that's all they see. And one of the things that me and Tony Randall, was also from Verizon, went out to one of the schools, and we had so many kids say, I want to be a professional football player. I said, really? Okay. I said, well, mathematics, basic mathematics, there are 300 plus Division 1A schools, colleges in this country. And there are 53 players per team. Okay, all right, so it's 15,900 players that you got to compete with. I think my math is correct, help me. NFL draft has 7 rounds, times 32 teams. That means they take 224 players every year. Oh, by the way, they don't all just come from straight out of college. They're ones who came out 2 years before you, or 3 years before you, that you have to compete against. And like I said, on average, they're 10 to 15 spaces. Sometimes we talk to kids, we don't give them straight numbers. Say, look, I'm not going to say you can't do it. Will never tell a kid he can't do it. Whatever they want to do. I would never ever tell anyone that. But I will say, look at the numbers. How good are you? Next, they want to communicate with each other. Texting via different apps. They want internet access. And they want to talk. Maybe not. I know my 22-year-old, when she was on my plan, she did 5,000 texts a month. I said, how does that work? How exactly? Let's see, you're in school for 8 hours, plus or minus. Hopefully you sleep about 6, 14 hours a day, done. So now you have another 10 hours. Hopefully you study a little bit, just a little bit. Give me 1 hour. Now a little bit of time left there. So then when you break it down to how many texts they do per, you can't even do it per minute, per second. Then you're looking at like, I see what you're doing while you're in school. You have to be doing it. So that's just one of the things. Why they dislike science and math? Why is it? It's not exciting for them. It's not. And I'm not saying all kids, but a number of kids, it's just not exciting for them. We don't, as teachers, one of the things that I did with mathematics, I was like, well, I got to relate this to everyday life. Because if I don't relate it to your allowance or something, if I don't find something that where your math counts, you'll never get it. Because it's just not exciting. What's cool about it for some kids? There's nothing cool. Nothing cool. Because there's no instant gratification. Why do I want to know this? I'm like, well, you want to know STEM because it lets you understand the world around you. As is the case from astronomy. It lets us know the world around us. Way out there, but it tells us the world around us. And how will this get me a job or a career? How? If we don't explain that to them, then young people are clueless. If we don't explain that to them, they won't get it. And you guys are the experts in this, and I have very little interaction with kids except for my 5. And they're aliens from another place. But really, these are questions that they've given me. My 5 kids, well, a 4-year-old hasn't per se. He doesn't think about a job, hopefully not yet. I'm trying to push him to think about work. But just not working too well right now. And give him that vision. So that's just introduction to my spiel. Like I said, I work for Verizon. And Verizon, we're all in this room, we're old enough to remember landline. If you're like me, I still have a landline phone. I still have it. I'm going to have it. My kids hear it ringing, they all run a different way. They don't know what the noise is. So, that's why I call that the dinosaur. The landline phone, yes, it's going away. Yes, it is. And Tony and I deal with it every day. My counterpart for Verizon, it is going away. But there's still a need for it. Like in your main office, do you guys operate on wireless? In your office, do you just operate on wireless technology?
We have landlines,
Landlines? See, so in businesses, landline will be there.
but our computers are hooked up to it. So if I'm
Right.
elsewhere, you call my landline and I'm not there, it rings in my
It rings somewhere else, right? Exactly. So, I mean, that's the dinosaur. So let me explain to you what the dinosaur looked like in one of our central offices where we have the technology that completes phone calls. Not a cell tower in the offices, right? The first picture is what we have called a switch, which routes phone number, routes phone calls. That one switch, when it was put in 1980, took up 6,500 square feet. One entire floor in one of our buildings. And it cared for 35,000 lines, 35,000 phone lines. Today, we reduced that to 30 square feet. From one floor, we went to 30 square feet. And it handles the same amount of traffic today. And that's one of the things that, as an engineer, we are tasked with. They look at it and they said, you know what, this thing drains a whole lot of power, Quadre. I said, hello? You plug it up? Yes, it does. They said, well, Quadre, I think we can reduce that size. What can we do with it? After about a year and a half of looking, that's what we came up with. That's a voice over IP switch. So basically your phone calls are traveling the internet backbone. It's digital, ones and zeros. Those type of things, when I talk to kids, because Tony and I have had an opportunity to take young people to our central offices. And if we're able to do the comparison sometimes, we say, look, if you came here a year ago, that was replaced by that. And that's where you were trying to get things to where engineers, we try to do things at a more efficient level. The power drain went down somewhere around 200,000 kilowatts a month. Somewhere in that neighborhood went down. And guess what? At the same time, we made our bosses happy because we reduced Verizon's power drain. Our BGE bill was reduced. Didn't make BGE so happy, but made the corporation happy. The future of communications, what does it look like? What does it look like, really? That's what it looks like. Smartphones, basic phones. I hope no one in here still has. No, I'm just joking around. I'm just joking. I mean, they still work.
Yes.
That's the key. They still work.
And they still sell.
Although limited, they still work.
That's right, brave.
And they still sell at some places. I.e., eBay, Amazon, they still sell. Internet devices, tablets, USB modems, connected devices. I mean, that is where this world is going from a communication standpoint. And from an engineering standpoint, from an R&D standpoint, we no longer, how many have a desktop? So many of us have migrated away from the desktop, and we thought we were stepping up in the world, getting a laptop. No, tablet now. Tablet has began to replace the laptop because of the functionality that tablet gives you, and of course the size of it. That is what engineers do. We develop those type of things. We develop things, I like to say, we like to develop things that make life simpler and make you lazier. If we have the opportunity to make you lazy, we're going to do it. And then we'll see on 60 Minutes how obese we all are. But that's what engineers do, try to make life simpler. Verizon, we try to make your communication simpler. Like I said, when we look at the wireless network, right now we give you unlimited You can get plans with unlimited voice. I have a plan with unlimited voice with 6 devices on it. And let me tell you, with the 6 devices, wireless, Verizon wireless devices, with 6 devices, if we use 700 minutes a month total, and with my wife and I, we're probably 500 of those minutes, and our kids only on the phone when we call them. If they answer. But that's the future of communication right there. Now, what is mobile technology? Mobile technology, that technology, it basically communicates between cell towers. Basically. Now, also with engineering, we have to understand that the entire world can't go wireless. So somewhere it hits a landline. And right now, Verizon is building what we call fiber to the cell site. So we're taking fiber from all of our central offices where the dinosaur switch was with IP. We're taking fiber to those cell sites from the office so that your 4G LTE network and your cell phone sometimes give you speeds in excess of what DSL can give you. So now your cell phone is giving you speeds you no longer need. High speed in the house. I use my phone to tether a lot. My cell phone, I put it down as a hotspot, I'm fine. Actually, I've gotten rid of a lot of things in my house when it comes to high-speed internet. I do it all through wireless. That's what we do. That's what engineers do, develop those type of things. And those are the things that our kids identify with. They identify with, hey, you don't need this modem in the house. Sit your phone down, use it as a hotspot. Now, I will say, for my kids, I limit their data plan per month because at one time we were paying them exorbitant prices because they were going over data plan every time. That's the one thing that's not unlimited.
Unless his grandfather did.
Unless the grandfather, I'm about to say that. I gave mine up and thought that I could get it back. And guess what? They said, no longer offered. I said, I went to get a new phone. They said, oh yeah, you got to go. New plan. I was like, oh my God. Now see, I'd have kept the flip phone if I'd have known that. You wouldn't have done that. No, I really wouldn't have. You're an engineer. Yeah, I really wouldn't have kept that flip phone. It wouldn't have worked. Then people would have talked about it. But, like I said, for engineers at Verizon, we have a number of arms of engineers. But for the most part, every day, our thought process is, how can we make things easier for our customers? How can we do it? And that's one of the things, like I said on a slide far back, what the kids know about. That's what they identify with. They identify with those cell phones, the tablet. I know in some of your classes, I would dare to think that you have to have a box at the door and say everybody put their phone down on the way at the door. Because if you don't, they're going to be texting off while you're teaching the class. Everybody drop your phone off at the door. You do that, don't you? See, that's something that I know.
Do you really?
The incentive is that they get their name in a raffle.
Oh, wow.
So
That's great.
it works out. Like, this is the first year I tried to call.
Exactly.
What's
So-
the prize?
And thanks. I think these two are going to be in there.
Tony, something in the way. But I mean, really, when I sit at work every day, when I sit in my office every day, I'm thinking about how we can make things better. Actually, right now, we're in a program where
Those switches that you saw earlier on in the presentation, we have 3,100 of those throughout the Verizon footprint. So in 10 years, they're saying, get rid of them. Get rid of them. That's the engineering feat. The 3,100 switches that I showed you on that first slide. They say get rid of 3,100 of them, and I will tell you, this is where the engineer comes into us. We got rid of 6 last year. Now, I said we're engineers, not magicians. We're doing 6 per year. And they actually gave us a break and said go 850 in 10 years. So now we're going to figure out as engineers, how do we jump from 6 to 85?
You got it.
Oh yeah, and we're 1 year into the program right now, and we haven't started yet. Really started yet. So
Sounds like a job opportunity for somebody.
it is, and that's a job opportunity for the young people. That is. They come out with that. I always tell people, I say, you know, we old people, and excuse my and excuse my grammar. We old people, we're not going to come up with the solutions for the future because we've been jaded. We kind of think one way because we've been told a number of times that, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. They have enough.
Yeah.
We've been told it over and over again. No, you can't do that. But they will make it happen. Another thing, yesterday's storage. I just put one up there.
You brought one?
I brought one. I had a presentation on it. I bought one. Yesterday's storage. Today's storage. Verizon owns a cloud company. Huh?
Verizon is coming with Go 90.
We own a company called Terramark, which is down in North Carolina, which is a cloud company. Because Verizon saw the future in the cloud. And this was, what, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Tony? When we bought Terramark, 5, 6 years ago?
Probably 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah. So now, that's the storage. Now, could we not, the brilliant people I have in this room here, could we not have thought about that? Could we not?
You can't do that.
Yeah, we couldn't do that.
You can't do that.
We had gotten too old. We'd already been told we couldn't do it too much. So, as engineers, it's our goal not to buy into the you can't do it. As engineers, we want to break the ground. We want to be groundbreaking for what we're doing. That's why Google has, out in California, they have the Google campus, and those people, they never go home. They live on that campus pretty much. That way they can't date. Keep their minds in a different direction. That's what it is. It's kind of
The
like,
sleep pods that they have, they don't make a double.
Yeah.
They're all single.
right?
I just want one of those sleep pods.
So I mean, that's those things, the engineers, when we get them young, it's kind of like the military. Let me tell you, military, if they told you, if you went to the military at 30 years old, do you think they can tell you the same thing they can tell you at 18? So I mean, the whole thing with, like I said, with engineers, and I'm sorry, I'm extremely impromptu and I'm kind of out of the box sometimes. Engineers, we really want to change life. We want to change the way that people see life. And that's one of the things that I think we try to drive home whenever we talk to young people, whenever I have the opportunity to talk to educators, whenever I have that opportunity. We now want to change the mindset. Because if we don't, they'll become kind of television. We want to broaden their horizons. We want to make them think outside the box. If they don't think outside the box, then guess what? There's no future. I came out of high school in 1988. I'm not going to ask anybody else. I came out in 1988. And I think back to what we were doing back then. I think the Mac had been out for about 5 or 6 years. And it had died off by then, and Windows started coming up with DOS and all that type of stuff. And now I think where we are today, if we were kind of restricted in our thought process, would we have ever gotten to where we are today? One of the things that, why they broke up, and once again I'm going to talk a little bit older, AT&T was broken up in 1983, and it became the 7R box. One of them being CNP, the other one being New England Telephone, and all that. But the reason why it was broken up, because they said, as long as the phone company stayed one AT&T, development would be stifled. That was the reason why they did it. Judge Green, he's like, when I first got to Verizon, if you said his name, the people who had been there since what we call divestiture, they might escort you out the door. They were no longer friends of yours. You say, I think Judge Green did a great thing. Oh, no, you didn't. Out the door. But in hindsight, absolutely did. Guess what came after that? Call ID came later on, Star 69, and all these other features that came from telephones, and now we're wireless. What's next? Somewhere to start. To the physics teachers, kinetic and potential energy. I put this jockey under there. I have a good friend of mine. He's working on his PhD. He's a disc jockey. He said, when I teach kids, man, I talk to them about DJing, the potential and kinetic energy behind DJing. I'm like, say what? He was like, think about it. Think about it. That's the hook. They just pulled them in. He just pulled them in. Something they're aware of, something that they're familiar with. Potential and kinetic energy behind DJing, being a disc jockey. When that record is sitting on well, not a record anymore, I think they don't see it.
That's a term.
When it's sitting there, it has potential in it.
45 and 33.
But then they get started, you got the kinetic energy. Bringing that to him. And that's one of the things that he kind of grabbed them with. He doesn't use the record because he's a little younger. But whatever they use, a CD player, whatever. Chemistry. When we talk about chemistry, medicine, the automobile, when you talk about the gas in the automobile and how it works, and then alternative fuel. When you get to talking about that, pulling kids in to things that they're aware of. When I was looking, I said, what percent of the world is water? You guys ever asked a kid that?
Yes.
You get the right answer all the time? No. People are looking at me now like, yeah, okay. What percentage of the world is water? 71%. Drinkable water is 2.5, right? 2%. Drinkable water. Yeah. When you start talking to kids about things in my mind that they identify with, you know, if you go out on that boat, you know, you get, when I went on a cruise, with my wife and we're out in the middle of the ocean and I'm looking at it, there's no lane anywhere around. And I'm saying, oh boy, hey, what we gonna do? I hope I'll let you get on first. I'll let you. If one of them got to take care of the kids, I'm not gonna say you're better than me. In this situation. So those are the things. Right now, my 15-year-old, he has his scuba diving license. He's a licensed scuba diver. And one of the things he was talking to me about is that I want to do marine biology. And I'm sitting there like, okay. Where you going? What school you going to? He said, hey, Dad, I'm thinking about Miami. Like,
Something else
He said, University of Miami, University of North Carolina, Wilmington, and University of South Carolina. I said, there's no college local. My interested in saving Dad money? Not really. But those are the type of things that we need to get the young people into, and some of the young people that you all are teaching right now aren't into things like that. But we need to expose more. And I know from my teaching stint, sometimes maybe you feel like you're going up a hill, trying to get through. But trust me, 15 years later, I've seen some of the kids that I was teaching, and they have said something to me, like, Mr. Washington, we missed you. You cared about us. You showed us things. You showed us in a different way. And all of us, I think, had a teacher like that in our past that we can say. So the aim, hopefully, is to be that teacher, the one that shows change. I taught at Baltimore City. In my mind, one of the toughest districts to be in, but I had it all. I left because of the adults, not none of the people there. None of the people there. But the adults.
Say it again. Adults.
So here's what you get started. Verizon doesn't have an internship program for high school and middle school students. We, every so often, will do it. I had a high school kid interning with me, I guess about 3 years ago, and it's never been brought up again. And he did a great job. He did a great job.
I have one to give you. You want one?
If I can take them, I'll take them. So, Verizon has a program every year. The Verizon Foundation does this app challenge. And I'll be honest with you all, I'm always mad because I don't see Maryland schools participating. Now, you heard me say a little bit earlier, we are not developing the next apps. They are. They know what they want to see. And please, if anybody participates, don't stifle them and say, no, that you're crazy. Whatever they say, yeah, you're crazy. I went to an event, in fact, we were there together, the Urban League. They had a gala. And there was a gentleman there who said, Prince funds an app challenge, an app camp in Oakland, California. And these kids are coming out with dynamic stuff that a gentleman from Google visited. And whatever idea the kid came up with, all the people were like, that's stupid. The guy from Google said, it's $1 billion idea. Because, like I said, we say it's not gonna work, or, no, what do we need that for? What science apps can they come up with if you got it? To help your students in the classroom? Maybe that's a challenge. Say, what science app would you like to see? What math app would you like to see? So they always say math and science go together, but sometimes I don't see the correlation. So what app would you like to see?
About a pH meter on my phone.
They have one. They have one. iPhone has one.
And many of you may have heard about the 13-year-old that sold his app,
Temperature prone,
$7 million. Of
too.
course, his parents lived well after that. $7 million. So, that's it for me. The technology jobs that are at Verizon, engineering, multiple disciplines. Now, it doesn't matter really what discipline. They just want engineers because they tell me when you're an engineer, they teach you how to think. I think they did that for me, I guess. That's what engineers are paid to do. The R&D, I worked in an R&D lab. I worked for Motorola out in Phoenix, Arizona. And we had on those white suits with the clean suits, what they call it, clean suits. We're in the rooms and like, yeah, couldn't talk to anybody, like, and we're all in these suits. I was in the wafer lab, and we're all in these suits, and I'm like, can't sit and do this all day and not talk to nobody. This is not gonna work. But it was an experience, and there are some kids that's what they want to do. If you give them that opportunity, say, you know, you can go in this lab and have that for the day. They want to do that. But the thing is, the teachers, you all have the golden keys to that. You all expose them to those things. Information technology, IT, operations, they're the people that make it all work. They're the ones that always tell people, the operations team, when your phone doesn't work, when your internet doesn't work at 2 in the morning, which I don't know what you're doing on the internet at 2 in the morning, they're the ones that get the call at 2 in the morning, they say, go fix it. Now, if you're the kind of person that wants to do that and get a call at 2 a.m., have at it. But that's another job at Verizon. The careers can be found at this site. And I want to thank you all for your attentiveness. Thank you very much.